Hello and welcome to this Darwin's Medicine seminar. My seminars are about the life sciences industry, pharma, medtech, diagnostics, which I've worked in, researched and written about for over 40 years now. I focus on the evolution of business models and strategy, and my aim is to tell you something relevant, useful and something you've not heard before. If I manage to do this, then please share with your colleagues and on LinkedIn. And if you want the longer supporting published article that goes with this seminar, or if you want to know more about my research generally, then just get in touch. The details are in the notes below. When you enter a new year with plans to revitalise and change, it's natural to think in terms of grand plans and big goals. But when I study how change really happens in organisations, I find that success correlates with, as the saying goes, sweating the small stuff. So let me start, as I like to do, with a parallel from evolutionary biology before I get on to how these ideas could influence your approach to 2023. In business, we're fond of talking about transformational change, but biology can teach business some lessons about transformational change. And we humans are a great example. With our big brains, our speech and culture, we can invent CRISPR, we can send satellites out of the solar system. But it's only a moment ago, in historical terms, that we were living in trees and picking fleas of each other. Now that's real transformational change. So how did that happen? Well, it might sound flippant, but it wasn't the result of some grand statement of strategic intent. It happened through evolutionary change of our DNA. And the amazing thing is that those changes weren't even large. We still share almost all of our DNA with our pre-human ancestors. But those small changes were important changes. They enabled increase in brain size, the ability to walk upright, and speech, among other things. The big changes we see in biological phenotypes are often the result of relatively small but highly significant changes in genotypes. Your genome and that of a chimpanzee are 96% the same, but you're quite different from a chimp, I hope. So, what does biology's ability to transform itself teach us about transforming our businesses? Well, the general lesson is that if you know what you want to change, you don't need to change much, but those few meaningful changes must be at a fundamental level. So if you want to transform your firm's phenotypic traits, you need to tweak the organisation equivalent of your firm's genome. In the jargon of my academic research, you need to modify your capabiliome by adapting your routinome, by engineering your microfoundations. In genetic engineering, it's the base pair sequence that matters. And in the same way, in organisational transformation, it's the microfoundations that matter. So let me expand on what I mean by microfoundations. A firm's ability to excel at anything is the result of an effective process or set of processes. So marketing excellence, for example, is the result of effective processes for segmentation, targeting, positioning, and many other things. But every effective process is made up of many small routines. Effective segmentation, for example, involves routines for defining the market, differentiating between hygiene and motivating needs, and understanding the heterogeneity of those motivating needs. By the way, if this stuff is relatively new to you, then just ask me for my article on superior segmentation. So, strong capabilities flow from strong processes, which are made up of strong routines, and it's the microfoundations that make routines strong. So what do I mean by microfoundations? Well, when I drill down into what makes companies effective in pharma and medtech, I find four types of microfoundation. First, the attributes of individuals. For example, the marketer's knowledge of segmentation theory. Second, the group's processes, for example, how it assembles and synthesizes the knowledge of within groups. Third, team structure, for example, how functional groups are connected to each other. And fourth, conflict management. So, for example, how differences between groups are used constructively. These four small but fundamental things combine to make a large difference in a firm's capabilities, just like a small change in your DNA can make a big difference to your health. When I compare strong marketing teams with weak ones, it's not headcount or resourcing or even experience that appears to be the most important. It's these four microfoundations. And just like you and your chimpanzee cousins, it only takes minor differences to make major differences in capability. It was this correspondence between genetic sequences and microfoundation differences that led me to label them the way I did in my book, Darwin's Medicine: attributes, group processes, team structures, conflict management, and abbreviate them to AGTC. You'll see the connection, of course. So, if you're ambitious to change things and to make a difference this year, then please resist the temptation to begin with big new initiatives. Instead, begin by thinking carefully about what change you want to happen and what that implies for the capabilities in which you must excel. Then try to parse what processes must be improved to enable those capabilities and what routines must be optimized to enable those processes. Finally, identify the microfoundations, individual attributes, group processes, team structures, conflict management mechanisms that you need to tweak to make your most significant routines work better. These microfoundational changes, this small stuff that you will probably need to change, are generally quite small and consequently more likely to be achieved in a reasonable time and within reasonable resources. But just like small genetic changes, they make you more intelligent than a chip. These small changes to your firm's microfoundations, the analogue of its base pair sequence if you like, will make a big difference to your 2023. Thanks for joining this seminar. If you found it worth your time, then please share it with your colleagues and on LinkedIn. If you'd like to read the supporting article, then get in touch. If you'd like to browse the 300 articles, papers and books I've written about our industry, then take a look at my website. And if you'd like to know more about my research and how I might be able to help your competitive capabilities, then let's set up a virtual cup of tea. I'd love to hear from you.